I'm personally nowadays quite relieved that I'm not young because I think it's a very difficult time to be a young person, in high school, college, graduating, because there's a acute scarcity of reasonable jobs. And I don't think that's going to get better. I certainly believe that there's going to be a job apocalypse in India, in the US, in many countries. And people who are going to be disproportionately impacted are young people because it's the very early career stage jobs which are easiest to automate. Now, normal advice is don't worry if you know how to use AI and you have judgment, a little bit of domain expertise, you understand context, and you can prompt AI, you'll be fine. But the problem is, unless you have the experience of some work, how do you develop judgment and domain expertise and so forth? So it's like on the career ladder, somebody has taken a saw and cut off the first few rungs, and you're supposed to leap and directly catch the middle. And that's going to be difficult. That said, I would go back to the time when I was young and I was graduating from IIT in 1985. And it was a similar time when there weren't many opportunities. And so I think some of the advice I gave myself then is what I would give young people today. Learn to stand apart, differentiate yourself. How do you do that? Not by jumping on social media and putting a bunch of garbage out there, by being excellent. Whatever you choose to do, if you stand out and differentiate yourself by being excellent, exceptional, you're going to stand out. In my case, for instance, every summer holidays, while kids were enjoying themselves, I was busy working. So in my first summer vacation, I went and worked in the shop floor of what was then Kirloskar Cummins in Pune. And actually played out beautifully because when I went to the US and I graduated with my master's, one of the companies I applied to was Cummins USA. And they said, "Oh, you've worked in our Indian operation. Fine, let's at least give him an interview." And that's how I got the job. I worked every other holiday. And doing these things made me stand apart from others who had just enjoyed themselves. The second really important advice is bird in hand is worth two in the bush. If you get some opportunity, it is better to grab it today rather than wait for something much better. I see so many young people who've gone to some college and they say, look, there's no jobs out there. Well, what they mean is there's no job worthy of me, what I have studied for. And I think that's a very, very dangerous thing. Right now, the environment is such that if you have an opportunity, take it. Because where you start does not determine where you end up. We've all heard about Dhirubhai Ambani, who started out by pumping petrol in some gas station. That's not where he ended up. That's just he started. So if the only job you have today is delivering packages or food for Swiggy, I'd say don't look a gift horse, take it and do that job really well. And out of it will come insights. You may develop the next best food app, but don't just sit around waiting for the perfect opportunity. The third thing I would advise young people is networks. And it's not your social media network, it's your real networks. So one of the things I explain to people is almost everything that happens to you, not because of your efforts and genius, nor does it happen because of some karma. It actually is directly attributable to your networks, which are the ones that funnel opportunities. Your networks determine who you meet, the opportunities you're presented with, the job you land, the experiences you get. So broadening your networks, cultivating them intentionally is one of the most useful things you can do.